Welcome to Happy Hour Holidaze with your host, Manny Febre. And we got our co-host in the house, Sean Febre. And then we got one of our brothers from another mother, Mr. Adrian Perez. How you guys doing today?
What up? Doing all right. Glad to be here with you guys on this beautiful day.
Oh, really, Adrian?
Yeah.
What time of the day is it?
Right now, it is, I believe it's
2 p.m.?
2 p.m.
Is it about 2 p.m.?
No, 1 p.m.
Not sure the exact time.
I don't know.
You're over here drinking a White Claw, bro. I'm
is-
just wondering.
It is Saturday at 1,
It's Saturday at 1.
Sorry.
so it's okay. I
So
can do that.
shouldn't you be out there mowing some yards or what?
No, not today.
Why
Today,
is that?
Today I'm here with you guys.
Is that because you have a crew
Yes.
of people that go out there and do it for you, Adrian?
Correct. I do have a commercial landscaping lawn maintenance company that I own, and I have a couple crews out there running full time.
Holy cow.
Indeed.
How many crews are out there?
I have 5.
And what happens when it rains?
When it rains, it basically depends on how hard it's raining. We still work in the rain, no problem.
No shit.
Yeah. If it's a light drizzle, we keep trying to go. If it gets harder,
Yo, doesn't that
we
fuck
wait.
up the yard, though?
Not really. Basically, every yard is different. That's what I tell people. Depending on how much it rains, if the grass is throwing up mud, then you don't cut it. But most times, if it's not throwing up mud, the machines will still mow.
No way.
Yeah. As long as there's no mud, if you don't want to mess up the grass, which you're right about that.
So if it's like St. Augustine grass, you're probably good to cut whenever, right? And if it's like Bahia or Bermuda, then you probably shouldn't be cutting it in the rain.
No, Bahia grass would be like that's crapgrass. That's what they use in fields and farms and stuff. That grass you can cut anytime you want. You can light that grass on fire and it will grow right back. It's crazy. It's a weed grass. St. Augustine's more sensitive to that. But as far as the rain, if the grass is wet, it can be mowed. If it just gets to the point where if it gets too wet, you can't do it. So it's basically case by case. We got to play by ear.
So tips and tricks for you folks out there who are cutting your own grass. Right here, we got the lawn pro,
Yes.
Adrian Perez.
Ask me anything you want about cutting grass.
About cutting grass. So when you cut your bush,
Uh-huh.
and we're not talking about grass here.
Oh, you're talking okay. A different bush.
Are you using a weed whacker?
No, I'm using a specialized trimmer for that. And then I apply some Roundup
Whoa.
to help it to stop growing so much.
You're kidding, right?
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Not for residential, though. Roundup is key.
So going back to the topic at hand, I mean, the reason that we really wanted to do this episode was kind of for the audience out there to kind of get to know the host and then, the people that we hang out with. So going back to, from the beginning, before you started Febre Frameworks, just tell us a little bit about how you got to that point and what was that inflection point that you said, hey, I'm done going to school. I'm done, working for the man. I want to create something that, is going to be tremendous in a niche market or, whatever came to your mind to start photography. So, Sean, tell us a little bit about the back end story because, we always ask people about their, the guests that we have about what they do. Let's find out about Sean.
Okay. Well, kind of a long story. So I was shown a motivational video. I had Les Brown, Eric Thomas, and I think Zig Ziglar, and it was cut to random cut scenes and B-roll, and it inspired me. It inspired me so much that I made a motivational video. So Andres, which was a coworker at the time when we were in a civil engineering firm, he's like, yeah, bro, I can make this video for you. So we made a video, and I was like, damn, man, I'm hyped. It's so cool. I want to do it again. It was like $300. I'm like, fuck that. I could just buy a camera, buy a lens, film it myself, okay?
$300 for the
video, yeah, for him to film it and edit it.
What
that's when we were both working at the civil engineering firm.
What a really good friend.
Wow.
That's a hell of a price.
Anyways, pay him for his time. So I was like, fuck that. I could probably do it myself. So I bought a Nikon D3300 or 3400, one of those. And I started shooting and filming for myself. And I just, for the life of me, could not figure out the camera. I was so pissed. I was like, fuck this. I'm just going to go take photos of downtown Tampa. Because I saw a guy on Instagram. His name's John Weatherby. And his photos were so dope. I was like, I want my photos to look like that. So I kept trying and trying and trying. I got Adobe Photoshop. And I was like, yo, how am I going to make my photos look like that? I went to YouTube University. I learned a lot of shit. And then... but I still couldn't make them look like John's photos. And then there's one day where I'm laying on my back at the Sykes building trying to take a cool angle of that soda can. If you guys know Tampa, Sykes building is the soda can building. It's a circle or a cylinder.
It actually used to be the Sykes building, but now they took down that name.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then this guy walks up to me, starts talking to me about photography. He looked homeless. Okay. Turns out he was homeless, but I brushed that off because it's an opportunity to learn. And he showed me how to use that camera a little bit better. He taught me how to take portraitures in like 2 minutes.
This was a homeless man
This was a homeless
that
man.
you randomly encountered
Yeah.
in downtown.
In downtown Tampa.
Buying drugs.
No, not
Buying
buying
drugs.
drugs.
No drugs.
This was on a weekend. I was Sykes is
sure.
right next to Curtis Hickson Park. Anyways, he started talking to me about photography, and you know, I took that and I was like, okay, now I could do portraiture. So then after that, I go back to downtown Tampa and I run into him again. So I'm like, okay, he is actually homeless, and it was probably around 5 at night. And this was before daylight savings time, so it would get dark earlier. And then it got all the way up until like 6 o'clock. And he was like, here, let me take this picture. I've been wanting to take this picture for a long time. And he snaps a photo. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. I didn't know the camera could do this.
Wow, good thing he didn't run away with the camera.
No, he's a good guy. It was fucked up. So, after that, I was like, yo, I'll pay you $100. Teach me everything you know. I'll be back here tomorrow at 8. So I show up, 8 o'clock. He's there, sure enough. And he teaches me everything about exposures, lighting, you know, the f-stops and all that stuff, aperture. And then I'm like, okay, now I know how to use this camera. So then I start taking pictures. They're coming out decent. They still don't look like John's, though. And I'm like wondering why. So I go on YouTube University again. They're like, yo, shoot in RAW. And then I shoot in RAW. And then I get Adobe Lightroom. And Adobe Lightroom, you know, I did one little swap of, I forget what the setting was. And I'm like, holy shit, man. Now I think I got something. So then my photos just start looking dope as shit. So then Ramez, our brother-in-law, for those of you who don't know, he's a broker, a real estate broker. He sees the photos and he's like, bro, just please edit my photos. I was like, nah, I can't edit your photos. Your photos look like shit. And they're not shot in RAW. So I go to our parents' house because he was selling our parents' house. And I take the photos. I was just, use these. Bro, sells in like a week. And then Ramsey sees them, which is Ramez's brother. And he was like, yo, just come and take pictures of my duplex and I'll pay you. So he gives me, what, $200 for what was 30 minutes worth of work? And I was like, huh, maybe this could be something.
Yeah, that's where it all began.
Yeah, maybe this could be something. Because I remember being in the parking garage with Ramez and Ramsey, and I was like, yo, I don't want to be a real estate photographer. I want to be a famous photographer. And I was getting in my own way. So for the people out there, don't get in your own way. And once I did Ramsey's property and I saw how much money I could make, I was like, man, I got something there. So I go back to work at Icon, which is now Burgess & Naples. And I was sitting there, I was like, yo, I made $200 in 30 minutes. And then at the time, I was making like $34 an hour. Man, in literally 30 minutes, I made about, what is that? Like 6 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
And I started advertising. I started reaching out to people. I told Ramsey, yo, please refer me. And I got better and better and better to the point where I thought to myself, okay, well, now I'm super busy. And you were helping me out because you were making those phone calls at night.
Yeah. I know
And
these days.
yeah, making those phone calls
Drinking
at night.
wine.
Yeah, grabbing that bottle of wine.
They're like,
Some
yo, it's
stories.
9 o'clock. All right, you can't
Yes.
call me anymore. And we want to plug You First Realty. That's Ramez's broker. So if you guys are agents out there that are looking for a good broker, contact Ramez 813-548-6686. He's a very informational and educational broker. He does help out, and you got a flat fee transaction fee, which is awesome compared to a lot of these brokers. Just remember one thing: a lot of the brokers out here that promise you the world, they're not going to give you your leads. If they have a $600,000 house that or $600,000 lead, they're not going to give it to you. So at the end of the day, the broker really doesn't matter. If you want to keep more money in your pocket, go with You First Realty.
God, that was a plug if I ever heard one.
That was a great
I
plug.
know, right?
Man.
So Manny's on the phone. He's making phone calls. I'm making phone calls too. They're cold calls. Of course, not a lot of realtors were happy about being contacted after 5 o'clock, but who the fuck cares? The grind is there. Let's make some money. So, probably about 2 months go by, and I'm doing 8 homes a day by myself, bro. And then going home, editing the photos, same day delivery. That was the thing. And free drone aerials, because that was my brother's idea. And I get too busy, and then I'm like, yo, my brother's making these Snapchats. He's talking about getting out the rat race. I was like, here's the opportunity. So I'm sitting on the Howard Franklin Bridge at like fucking rush hour traffic.
It was like 4 p.m.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, 4 p.m. It's rush hour traffic. He's sitting in his office. He's living in Orlando at this point. You're living in Orlando at this point.
Yeah.
And I call him and I say, yo, come on, bro. Let's do this. Just quit your job and let's go. He was like, I can't do that, man. That's crazy. I can't just quit my job. I was like, okay, run me through your bills minus your rent. Run me through your bills. He runs me through his bills, and I'm like, yo, that's like 4 homes. Or no, it was probably more than that.
Yeah, I think it was like $400 to Judy at the strip club, and then $600 at the other one. So I was supporting like 4 or 5 strippers at that time.
So it was like 4 homes a week or something like that, and I'm doing 8 a day, so he could do 4 a week. So what'd you do?
So I mean, at that time,
You told him what?
So I had a really good.
Hey, I'm going to do 1 week vacation.
Yeah.
Right?
So I mean, I had a really good relationship with the project engineer, and he was a team leader. So I was a CAD manager over in Orlando. I started out in Tierra and Tampa, and they opened up a branch in Orlando, and they promoted me as CAD manager for the Orlando office. And, I told him, I told the boss, I was like, hey, I got a little thing going on the side. He's like, yeah. Whatever you say, you'll be here. And and then I walked into his office and I was like, hey, man, this shit's really taking off. I'm going to just I'm probably just going to quit right now. And he was like, no, Manny, don't quit. He's like, just take your vacation time, evaluate to make sure that you're making money before you quit this job, because you got a good job here and we like having you here. We don't want you to leave. He's like, just take your vacation time. He was cool as fuck. Take your vacation time. His name was Jeremy. And I was like, all right, I'll take my vacation time. So a weekend, we were fucking rocking and rolling. I left Orlando that day, left everything in the apartment, didn't fucking take anything with me. I had all my clothes, everything. Everything was just left.
Left all the furniture.
The TV, the bed, everything. I literally left like everything I had in my life in that apartment, and literally left to, probably, grab my valuables, whatever was like really valuable to me, which wasn't much, besides all the strippers' panties. But, besides that, I was just like, all right, I took whatever I needed. I left that day, and then literally Sean trained me from the time I got there, which I think I got there at 10 till like 3 or 4 in the morning. And then I woke up and did 4 vacant homes. And then it was pretty much.
I think the first house that you shot solo was for
Barry Bass.
it wasn't for the Lombardos?
Or maybe it was Lombardo.
Yeah, I think it was the Lombardos. Yeah. And they said the photos turned out great.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, these photos aren't good at all.
That's funny.
And I was your worst critic, right?
Yeah,
because I was like looking at it and I was like, man, I want him to shoot just like me, edit just like me. But at this point, you never picked up a camera? Never. So then, within like a week's time, you became an expert at shooting real estate photography. So just and you know what? When we get back, we're going to continue this story because it's a really good story. We're just talking about, this is only 2 months into Febre Frameworks, and we're what? We're 7 years in?
7 years
7 years
July
in.
Way back here.
27th?
July 26, 2016.
2016.
I had a question here.
Well, no, when we get back.
We're back. Happy Hour Holidaze. We got a boy beatboxing here. We getting loosey goosey on the claws. So where were we on this shakedown today?
All right. Here we are. We're back.
We're back over here at Happy Hour Holidaze
Little bit of
talking
music.
about going from the rat race to
Self-employment.
a lot of gray hairs.
A lot of gray hairs, yeah. So when we left off, we were talking about when you were on your 1 week vacation here in
That's right.
in Tampa from Orlando, and your guy told you, "Yo, yeah, just take the 1 week. Let's see what happens." So what'd you end up telling him at the end of that 1 week? After you grabbed all your valuables from your fucking apartment and all that shit.
Yeah, so I mean, I was inside a house shooting a vacant house in South Tampa. It was right off of pretty close to Azeel. I remember this very vividly because I was like, man, it's been a week. I got to let my boy know, hey, you know what? I told him, hey, it actually is working out. Whatever I have in my desk, you can toss it. And then I had to call my landlord that day and tell him, hey, man, I'm going to have to break the lease. And he was cool with me. So he just used my final payment or my security deposit as my final payment. And he told me, what do you want me to do with the stuff? So I told 2 of my homeless friends if they wanted to go over there, take
Is
a
that a
trip.
joke or are you being serious?
I can't tell.
Homeless friends? You got homeless friends, dog?
What is it with you guys in the homeless?
No,
That's
I
for Bray Brothers.
I told two of my friends to go there and get whatever the hell they wanted in that apartment. I was like, hey, I'm throwing everything else away. If you guys want whatever's in there, you guys can have it. So they literally went there to Orlando, got everything they wanted. And then the rest of it, I told my landlord I'll pay a fee for them to just dispose of anything else that I had in
I mean,
there.
what did you give them?
There was couches, TVs,
Wow.
kitchen stuff, like knives, plates, dining room table, mattresses. I mean, there was 2 mattresses in there, futon, a bunch of clothes. So I'm glad I was able to help my 2 homeless friends out.
Luckily, they went in there and just took everything out. They destroyed the property.
So I was living in a 1-1 apartment right here, right down from the office, actually, in Belmere Apartments. So my brother moves in. You're sleeping on the couch. This guy's sleeping on the couch, all right? The most uncomfortable fucking couch. It's not big. You barely fit on it.
Yeah.
Rinky-dink apartment.
No, actually, it was a nice apartment. It was not a rinky-dink apartment. So I got a custom fucking asshole. I got a badass computer that I'm editing on. Manny, you were editing on like what, a Surface Pro?
Surface Pro on my lap on the couch that I slept on, editing.
With a tiny little fucking
This guy
keyboard.
he was using Windows 98.
And no, he wasn't. No, Adrian, you're exaggerating. It was just it wasn't very high in processing. So I mean, this continued for what, I think about a month, and then we were like, okay, well, we need to get a 2.2. So within the same apartment complex, we got a 2.2. Moved all the furniture from there to over there in one day, and then. Damn, that really fucked me up.
I remember I helped you guys move.
And then what were you sleeping on then?
Then I was sleeping on an air mattress because you told me that I wouldn't get a mattress until I hit a certain amount of homes. So
I was a shit boss, bro. At that point, yeah, I was a douchebag.
I remember once when I got into a little argument with my wife, and I had to stay with these guys for like a week in this apartment. I needed a place to stay here, and I remember being there when they first started this business out, and it was just nonstop work. I mean, we didn't even hang out. These guys were working from morning until 4 a.m. the next day.
Dragon Stokes.
I mean,
Yeah,
Dragon Stokes.
yeah, I smoking
And I noticed
cigarettes.
that the 1 week I was there, I felt that this is going to become something just based off of how hard and determined these two were to make this happen.
Yeah.
Really great.
And then, so I think about another 2 months goes by. We're both listening to books on Audible. We expanded out to Orlando. At the time, it was me, you, Ralph, and Lewis. And we were just listening. Oh, and Kenny and Johnny. Well, but Johnny, let's not talk about Johnny.
Another day.
Yeah, another day. So we're working our ass off, right? So there's a point where I think I finished reading The E-Myth. And that book, what the E stands for is entrepreneur, the entrepreneur myth, but it's called The E-Myth. At that point, I was like, yo, why the fuck am I still taking pictures? Like there's got to be a better way. And that book showed me that delegate, delegate, delegate. And the hardest thing for most people to do is delegate because they think they have to have their hands in everything, right? Because nobody can do it as good as they can. Well, that's horrible to think because you can delegate. Why do you think there's big ass businesses like Amazon, Walmart? Well, they delegated everything. If they were able to delegate, you should be able to do the same thing. So that's when I said, okay, well, I'm out of the field. We were waiting for Logan to get hired past his Part 107 license so he can start working in Orlando. So we don't have to drive out there because you and I would just alternate waking up at like 6 a.m. after being up until 3 a.m. editing photos to drive to fucking Orlando. So I got out. Kenny started running the business, even though he wasn't the best operator. And Manny was still taking photos at that time. And then once we rented our office, that's when we kind of stepped back from taking photos. And instead of working in the business, we started working outside of the business. So that went on for 3 years from 2017 all the way to 2020. And then at that point, I was like, yo, I think my brother can do a better job running the company. And I was like, okay, I'm no longer going to be the boss, Manny. You're going to be the boss. Right?
Yeah.
And you took it from no growth between 2019 and 2020 to like a 40% jump in 1 year. And since then, we have grown It's been an average of like 20% per year. How'd you do that?
All I can say is that it's a combination of having a good team. You can't all take the credit for what we started. At the end of the day, like he says, when you delegate and you pick the right people, and that's the hardest part is finding the right people to delegate the positions.
That's in general, any small business. Finding good work, good help these days is very, very tough. Very tough.
But Manny, like going back to what you're saying, yeah, delegation. Well, and so how did you make those decisions where you're like, yo, I need this guy on my team? Because you brought on Doug as a strategic advisor. And for those of you who don't know, Doug is a very successful executive level individual. So what made you reach out to those people? What made you think to yourself, yo, if I take advice from this guy, it's probably going to help the business?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've never been a CEO or ran a business. So I was just like, all right, well, this is what I need to do to help and continue to help this business grow is I don't know everything. And just like Elon Musk, who we have there on the wall, you got to hire people that are smarter than you, and or have more experience than you, because people that don't take constructive criticisms and think they know everything, when I make decisions when it comes to different things in business, I make sure that I take my executive team and I see what we all think, and then we vote on it. And if I think it's the right position, then we go ahead and execute it. Because at the end of the day, if I just say, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is it might not be the best decision for the business. That's why you have an executive team, which is tough to build, somebody who wants to stick around for a while. And luckily we had Jeanette. We had some other people that came along that were really vested in the business that made a difference. And I took their opinions into account. And that's where we ended up growing substantially. And that's all I can tell you. If you're a boss, you're not always going to be right. You're going to have to take advice from other people outside of yourself to know if you have the right decision or if maybe another decision's better. The best thing about having a strategic advisor like Doug was that he knows how to run a business. He went to college. He's an MBA. You know, he knows what it takes to run an efficient business. And the biggest thing is finances and taxes. You want to make sure that you're organized in that manner, you know, and don't do it yourself. Just get a good CPA that's going to help you out. And that was one of the biggest changes is I was there trying to do QuickBooks as a novice, you know, a novice or whatever you want to say. Novice. And you know, honestly, to categorize everything for your tax liabilities, you're not going to know the best thing. So I know it was a little bit of money, but I hired a company that basically did our monthly financials, did our yearly taxes. They filed our quarterly employment taxes, and that gave me the freedom to be able to go out and sell. So to open up these new territories, you had to go to all these different territories and mingle with the realtors in order to build a relationship to continue to grow your business. And I think that's the best thing to do. I mean, sales and marketing work hand in hand, but that's what really will make your business grow, along with making personal relationships. If you see a customer or a client, buy him a drink, buy his food. You don't know how a $10 or a $20 beer or food is going to go a long ways. My brother had the idea to do the client appreciation party, and people still talk about that till this day because nobody ever does that. Nobody
was a great time.
Yeah, it was a great time.
At the Rusty Pelican.
Yeah, Rusty Pelican.
Yeah, shout out to Corey Van Valen, who was performing magic there.
Yeah, he was performing magic. We had a great DJ as well.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know he's a big time in St. Pete and stuff, but yeah, I mean, we threw a really great customer appreciation party, and it really went a long ways with our customers because they were like, hey, nobody ever does. We'd had free food, open bar. I mean, people like to drink, people like to mingle, people like to dance, and that took it a long way. So I would say building relationships with your clients while you're in the field before you delegate everything is the way you're going to help it grow, because still to this day, when I pick up the phone, if we ever have somebody out and I have to, you know, answer the phones, I mean, those relationships, people remember you for eons, and they stick with you if you made an impact while you were out there. So if you have the time to start your business, make sure you really touch on those relationships. Those relationships go a lot further than you think, and that loyalty will stay there. Of course, you know, with price raises, sometimes it's tough, but you have to be strategic with your relationships.
Can you explain the reason why price raises are something that a business like ours needs to do?
Yeah, and the biggest thing is that when you're growing a team, I mean, look, we're employing people and we're giving people livelihoods, but every single year,
health insurance.
Yeah, health insurance, but car, everything, but prices go up every single year. I mean, look,
inflation is crazy.
Inflation is crazy
Same
right
with me
now.
in my business, I've raised the prices on many customers.
Yeah, and you got to
understand.
Yeah,
so going to inflation.
Yeah, going to inflation. I mean, look, Tampa Metro and even in Florida, we got the two highest inflated metros in the United States.
I know.
So, I mean, prices have to go up. I mean, look, home prices have gone up steadily. I mean, there was a lot of realtors making money hand over fist during 2020 to 2022, and you're operating as one person. You're a 1099 to your broker. So you don't have a team. You're not employing a whole bunch of people. You're not providing health insurance.
Some realtors.
Some realtors, if you're a broker, yeah, you are. But at the end of the day, those are still 1099 employees that you have under your broker. So they're going to file for themselves. But what we're doing is we're growing a team that's a W-2s where we're giving them health insurance. We're making things better for our photographers. We're making technology better so that they can be tipped more often. So when you stop innovating your business or you just walk away from it without improving it, that's when you fail, because somebody else out there is going to be hungrier than you are, and they're starting out and they want to beat you. So you got to continue to be top dog. And the only way you're going to be top dog is that you keep working on the business. And that's the way we continue to do it. And if you don't stop doing it like that, then you're going to end up failing. And I've seen a lot of people get comfortable after 7 or 8 years or 10 years and then go, oh no, everything is good. But you're so distant from your business. If you don't know how to operate anything inside your business, then you are way too distant from your business.
Absolutely.
Because if anybody goes on vacation or something like that, I want to be involved so I know what to do, just in case. You never know. There's only so many lines of defense before it gets back to you, and then you're sitting there with your dick in your hand, not knowing what to do.
Yeah, everything you're saying, it's with any business in general. Everything you're saying, proper scaling. If you hire employees, make sure it's the right thing to do. Do you really need to do that? A lot of times, these owners in these businesses, they don't want to work, and they hire too many people. For example, now their overhead's extremely high when it doesn't really need to be. You can restructure it, do things differently, where you can make it more efficient, where more money's coming into the business. You have more money in your operating account, staying there, not just coming in and out. So yeah, I definitely agree with everything you're saying. It's how every business that is successful is going to be ran. The owners have to know their business. They have to be involved. Like you said, if somebody's out for the day in small business, the owner needs to come and make up possibly if there's not a backup employee, for example. So yeah, that's very important that business owners stay involved and on top of their day-to-day operations, even if they're not, the manager or whatever it may be, they should still know what's going on within their business at all times.
I'm curious to know, what is your biggest challenge that you faced when you were first put into the position of CEO in terms of growing the business, in terms of revenue, reducing costs? What would you say the biggest challenge was?
Biggest challenge was tax liabilities. I mean, you definitely had to adjust, because when you're starting off a business, you're trying to do all the jobs, wear all the hats at once. And that's exactly what you have to do until you have enough cash flow to be able to delegate that.
Proper scaling.
Yeah, proper scaling. And one of the biggest books that I've read was Scaling Up. We read that together. Book. Yeah. And it was really about, hey, let's focus on growing revenue. Let's make a budget. That's the biggest thing with a lot of people that start off businesses. They're just like, okay, I need to pay this, I need to pay it. But if you don't make a yearly budget, you don't know if you hit your budget numbers or if you're going over or under it. So one of the biggest things is make a budget, okay? Use sales to all advantage, the most you can, because sales is what's going to grow your business along with marketing. Those two, like I said, work hand in hand. So you really need to focus on those two. But one of the biggest challenges was definitely the finances. Before that, I think we were still doing the books ourselves. So delegating that to a CPA, getting the monthly financials, seeing where you're sitting every month, and having that budget to compare off of was huge. But also having somebody like an advisor to kind of help you out is going to be one of the biggest things to help guide you to success.
Absolutely.
And then sex.
Well, I guess when we get back, we will continue this episode of Meet the Hosts with the
Febre brothers.
With the sideline guest.
And I'm a sideline guest. I'm just here to support
I didn't even know you were showing up, guys.
That's funny.
Welcome to Happy Hour Holidaze. We are back with your hosts, Manny and Sean and Adrian.
Hello. I'm just here for support.
So and just talking, just free balling here, like free balling. Remember, don't end up with your dick in your hand. But anyways, I have a lot of friends that started businesses, and you try to guide people. Of course, nobody fucking listens until they get fucked. But anyways, if you're a person that is starting out a business, all I can tell you is that you want to make sure that you have a good CPA. I know it's going to be a little bit expensive, but it's fucking worth $1 million.
It's going to save you more money than it costs.
Yeah, it's going to save you 1 million times more money because at the end of the day, you're not a fucking accountant. You didn't go to accountant. Your special skill is whatever you're selling. So it could be fucking plumbing, electrical, whatever it is that you're doing. You're good at that. You're not good at being a salesman. You're not good at fucking doing accounting. You're not good at marketing. So the best thing to do is try to get strategic partners to help you out. And there's a lot of people that will play to say they're a strategic partner, but they're really just milking the fuck out of you.
Yeah, let's talk about that because we have hired people to be salespeople.
Yeah.
How many times have we done that? Like 5 or 6 times.
5 or 6 times.
How many of those worked out?
None.
None of them. Okay. And it's not like we're hiring people without experience, right?
No.
We were hiring people with experience. And those individuals were really good at selling themselves to us, but not selling our business to our potential customers. Not just that, marketing companies. Marketing companies have done the same thing to us over and over again. They promise the world, and what we get is a marble. It makes no fucking sense to me. Honestly, one of the things that I feel that we can give to our audience here is proceed with caution when you're hiring a marketing firm. Most marketing firms, they'll try to sell you on one aspect of marketing. Oh, yeah. We'll do everything. But then all they do is SEO. And right now with ChatGPT can SEO optimize your entire website with one keyword that you want it to be optimized to. If you just type in, please target an audience XYZ with the focus keyword, your industry. So steer clear, folks. I'm telling you, a lot of these marketing firms are just out here to take your money, because we were paying like $5 a month for, 6 months? They didn't do shit. They didn't do anything. We're not going to mention the firm, but if you're watching, fuck you.
No, and that's the hard part. I mean, look, if you can delegate everything else and be your own salesperson, because once, and I said not to be not to do sales, obviously you're a plumber or whatever it is, but if you're the business owner, you're going to have to learn sales, and it's not really just like, you're not really like hardcore selling. You're almost building relationships, and in turn, you'll get a sale. So if you're really good with people, that's what you need to be. That's what you need to be doing out there. And once you get everything delegated, go out there and just keep meeting prospects, and go to different restaurants, go to, places where people would be, where you can talk to them, networking events, whatever it is, and sell yourself. And in turn, you'll get business.
So talking about selling here. So you and Blake is a former employee of ours, a good friend of ours. Did a great job. And so you and Blake were going out to Jacksonville when we first opened the Jacksonville office. Why don't you run the audience through what your tactic was, from acquiring the meeting to what you did during the meeting, what kind of food you provided, and what the result was from doing all that work?
Why don't I just tell all the real estate photographers my secret? No, I'm not going to tell them.
Don't
that.
do it.
Absolutely
my God, bro.
No, I'm not going to tell them exactly what I did, but I can tell you what you need to do.
Yes.
So what you need to do, if you're in any profession besides mine, is to go out there and offer some educational luncheons. Plenty of people, when I was at the engineering firm, would do the same thing. Have a little PowerPoint. Everybody likes to fucking eat. You go there, you call the firms, and you want to tell them, hey, I'll come in. I'll go ahead and run down what we're offering that could be beneficial and add value to your business, and give you a little bit of lunch. And that's where you can grow and learn from your clients what their needs are, and then also build a relationship with those firms. So when it comes to anything that you do, you want to make sure that you're calling the firms, depending on what it is, or people, and offer free. It just goes back to just like buying a drink, buying somebody food. It goes such a fucking long ways for $20.
Go golfing with them.
Pay
for their round.
Yeah, pay for their round. I mean, look, the little bit of money that you spend, it might be a little bit, it might be a lot, depending on who your clientele it is. But I can't tell you how many times I've literally bought a tequila shot for somebody at a restaurant.
Oh God, yeah.
And literally gotten a tremendous amount of business, because I just stay positive. I stay fun. People like to be around people that are fun. So you want to have a good vibe around people, and they will eat off of that, and they will continue to be loyal to you. So when it comes to sales, make sure you're touching base with all those relationships. I'm going to send them those corny ass emails. Try to get them on the phone if you can, or go to the networking events that you're going to be able to get in front of people. And if you need something to loosen up, have a couple of drinks. You'll be loose. Don't be a stiff, and don't talk about business right up off the front. Talk about something that is you guys are going to have in common. Even if you have to do a little bit of research, which is almost like stalking a little bit. Look at their Facebook page, see what they're interested in, and then strike a conversation. It could be about anything, and then all of a sudden you sneak in the little bits about business, and that's how you get somebody's rapport. When we were listening to audiobooks, we were listening to NLP. neuro-linguistic programming. You want to make sure that you understand people as well as you understand yourself. And the only way you're going to do that is by educating yourself on how people interact. And the more you can feel how people interact and what people are drawn to, the easier it's going to be to get business without even really trying hard.
I like that you said NLP. NLP was huge, right? Because we read like 3 or 4 books about NLP, but the best book, in my opinion, was How to Win Friends and Influence People in terms of interactions, because that book made it really clear. It was a very long book, but the whole premise of that book was one thing: how to get people to like you. And the one thing I took away from that book, amongst others, was people like talking about themselves. People like talking about themselves. If they continue just to talk about themselves, they're like, oh my God, that person's listening to me. Okay, well, they're interested. They're asking me questions. They're engaging in my dialogue. And I find that the best way to open any kind of conversation is ask them a question. Like this: Adrian, how's your day going?
It's going good. It's going good. Here with you guys.
Whoa, I thought it was at night.
It's going good.
Wait
2 p.m. on
a
Saturday.
second here.
It's 2 p.m. on Saturday.
But what I was
Night.
gonna tell you, besides asking how they're doing, you want to ask them, hey, I saw that you won an award for this, or your business is doing so good. All of a sudden, that opens it up, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, we just got done with this. We're on the map. We're doing great. That's going to get them to open up to you. And then all of a sudden you can find some common denominators between you guys. And then you'll be able to, hey, let's go get some lunch and talk about a little bit more.
And the key with that is, hey, let's go get some lunch, but follow through. Set a calendar invite, ask them for their email. Make sure that you send that invite as soon as possible. Reach out to them and say, okay, hey, I sent you that calendar invite. Can you please RSVP? Yeah. That way it's something that is concrete, because a lot of the guests that we've had on this podcast, they were nonchalant in the oh, yeah, I'll be on your podcast. Okay, great. I don't even hesitate. Okay, great. When can I get you on? Oh, you want to do this now? I'm like, yes, because the only way to get someone to commit to something is for them to actually commit. If someone says, yeah, I'll be on Tuesday next week, but you don't send a calendar invite, well, then they're like, okay, well, I have nothing to remind me. And then also is to follow up the day before and say, hey, are we still good for tomorrow at 2 p.m.? And if they say, yep, then you're like, okay, well, I know that this is going to happen now. Because a lot of people, when you meet them at first, they're going to say, yeah, I'll do it. Okay, I'll accept the calendar invite. Oh, shit, man. I forgot I had this going on. 90% of the time, those people are full of shit. They don't have anything going on tomorrow. They just want to, say they do. So they bypass something that they forgot they agreed to do. I mean, can you feel me on that one?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, shit, it's crazy, bro. Because I've met a lot of people who say, yo, yeah, we'll hang out 12 p.m. on next Wednesday. 12 p.m. next Wednesday comes, yo, I'm at the place. Oh, I completely forgot. Because there was no follow-up, there was no calendar invite, there was nothing solid to hold the invite. See, you can make the reservation, but you just can't hold the reservation. What is it? You could take the reservation. You just don't know how to hold the reservation. That's Seinfeld.
Also, I think a lot of it has to do with, I know this is hard, you have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone if you want to be successful. A lot of people, whether you're a startup or you're an established business, it doesn't matter. You have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone to maybe expand your business. If you're a startup, to get your business going. That's the big problem, that a lot of people are nerves. Their nerves won't let them take that step. And I know it's hard, but you just have to be willing to do it. And once you break that mold, success will be meeting you on the other side. Most of the time, always.
I like that.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Adrian, let's get the audience a little familiar with you.
Oh wow, I thought I was just here for emotional support.
No, we have pets for that.
Ah,
Oh, and wives.
that's funny. Make sure my wife doesn't hear this one.
Well, let's see here. Adrian.
Let's take it back to Adrian. I mean,
Yeah,
Adrian
yeah.
has built a successful real estate business, landscaping business,
Closing 3 deals in 1 month,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I
So,
guess, yes.
so when it came to it, you got out of high school. Let's just say, Adrian, we're fresh out of high school, and I know you went straight to build your business. How did you do it, man? Because I mean, Florida's not easy. It's hot as fuck.
Oh, great for cutting grass.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for cutting grass, but how did you get into the mode where you're like, hey, there's an end game here? My business is growing. We're getting commercial accounts. I mean, this is going to be a generational thing. I mean, this business isn't going anywhere. Grass ain't fucking going anywhere. So
For me, basically, this was a family business that my father had started many years back. And I've been involved about 18 years now with him. Once I came in on board,
At what age?
I was probably 19 or 18 years old.
right after high school, you started
Right after high school, yeah. I started, my father started this business, and it was the size that it was, and he was complacent in what he's doing, and he was happy. So me coming in, it needed to grow. So I started coming up with ideas to expand things. Yes, I had to go out on the field myself a lot to work, and it happens very, very often, even till this day. And my industry is different. Every industry is case by case. Every business is a different animal. You got to know your business. So for us, it's like as we grow and I need to hire another route for another truck for another route, there might be a time where I have to be responsible to run that route until I can replace myself with a driver. And this is how I did it for many, many, many years. I will get a driver. He would do his route. I'd run a second truck, another truck. Once that route was established, I replaced myself, get a third truck, and I'm running that third truck. Once that one, we had enough money, enough working capital, I was able to get a fourth truck. Now I'm running that fourth truck. So I have 3 drivers. And you keep doing that. And it's not easy. It's difficult. Like we talked about earlier, the hardest part, especially I feel in my industry, is finding good work. I know my industry is tough. Landscaping,
Good
Mm-hmm.
lawn maintenance-
workers?
Good workers.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, good workers. So I know it's tough, and it's a very laborious type job. I mean, people always say, pay people more. We're paying our employees. We start great salaries. It's not even that. It's that a lot of people are lazy. A lot of people these days are very lazy. They don't want to work in the sun. It's too hot. They don't want to get their hands dirty. That's the problem, especially with a lot of our youth that's coming up in our trades generations, is that they want to have an easy job in an office with AC where they don't have to be that involved and make great money. That's not how it is. That's why I always tell people, you always have somebody that wants to be an employee forever, who has no motivation, just wants to make their check. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. You can be an individual doing that, making great money. And there's other people that just want to do it themselves and start their own business and, be their own boss. And that's the route they chose. So I always tell people, just pick what makes you happy and pick the right industry if you're trying to start a business. I went with the lawn service. Obviously, I have my father with an established business already somewhat back then. I helped grow it, grew it drastically. And we are here today where we're at. And that's never looked back. That's the end of the story. My father's retired. He still likes to poke his nose around in things, but he's a good man. I love him. And that's how pretty much I started.
Poke his nose around in things?
Well,
What do you mean?
Yes.
just like kind of take a look at the business. But when it comes down to it, let's get the last words in. Sean, what's your last bit of words to tell the audience? If somebody's looking to start a business or whatnot.
Last words. My last words would be very, very simple. And it's literally said by everybody. If you're passionate about something, you never work a day in your life. And I call bullshit. All right. Because passions change, right? Because you're not doing the same shit you were passionate about 5 years ago. I mean, unless you're truly passionate about it and you want to grow it, what people are passionate about, in my opinion, is just money. Let's just go get money,
Everybody
right?
is.
That's literally it. So it's like, okay, well, I'm passionate about getting money, but then also find an exit. Let's say you start a business. Let's say you start that business. It takes maybe 5 years to blow up. Once it blows up, find a way to exit that business, because if you don't exit it, you'll be in that business for the rest of your life until the day you retire. So, I mean, fuck, you just turn a 40-hour-a-week job into a business, and then you turn that business into your 40-hour-a-week job. That don't make sense. Nah, dog, make that revenue grow. Make sure you have the right multiplier and exit. So then you can start something else, because 7 years later, 5 years later, you're passionate about something else. That's mine right there. What about you, Manny?
Yeah. Mine is going to be, when it comes to the world and life, I think your network is your net worth in a sense, because the more relationships that you grow, the better it is for you as far as business and in life, because everything revolves around the dollar, or whatever it is, money. So you want to make sure that you can put yourself in positions where you can always get the best deal. Don't ever let anybody negotiate you down to $1. You want to be the one in the best position. You want to be the one. You want to be the one that changes the generational tree for eons to go. So if you're the one, you're going to be the person that's never going to be negotiated down to $1. You're going to be the one that's always going to fight for every dollar that you can. So I would say within this world, always negotiate, never fucking settle. Don't ever, even if it's a car place, whatever it is, house, whatever it is, don't ever fucking take what they give you. Make sure that you negotiate that shit to the bare bone, because everything's negotiable in this world.
Adrian, what about you?
Well, I mean, you guys.
We got a minute, 30 seconds.
All right, you guys pretty much took the words out of my mouth. I agree with everything you two say. Yeah, you just have to be focused on what you're doing. Always be weary to what people are telling you, so you don't get swindled, whether it's a deal or a business offer. Be educated in the product, whether you're selling a product or your service. If you're providing a service, be educated so much in that department in your business that nobody's going to question what you're saying, and that they're just going to want to hire you because they're going to like what you're offering. And make sure that once they do hire you, that you follow up and you continue to do what you promised them, whether it's a service or a product you're selling. Just make sure you follow up, be attentive, stay alert, live life, and that's it. That's all I got to say.
And thank you for listening to Happy Hour Holidaze. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on TikTok, every single social media platform. We love all the feedback from the audience. If you have any questions about business or anything else, please, like I said, comment, and we'll get back to you in a couple of years.